It was a fatality for Napoleon to be obliged to create so many new kingdoms. They therefore are in error. Who have said that he ought, in view of his own interest, to have dethroned the sovereigns of Prussia and of Austria? When he occupied their capitals, the emperor, by so doing, would only have increased his embarrassments and the number of his enemies, for those sovereigns were beloved by their subjects, and besides, whom could he put in their places? Men beyond the Rhine do not like governments imposed by us any better than we like those which enemies impose upon us. Remember that in 1808, Napoleon thought it necessary to change the dynasty of a great nation? That dynasty had so degenerated that it approved of its own removal. The country whose lot should be placed in the hands of the emperor was that for the regeneration of which French influence was most necessary. Nevertheless, all Spain rose to reclaim the monarch whom a foreign power had taken away. The emperor conciliated then, as far as was possible, temporary interests and transient exigencies with his great object, the resettlement of Europe upon the basis of the interests of all. But fate seemed always to force him into new wars, and as if it was not enough that he had liberated from the trammels of past ages Italy, Switzerland, and Germany, it was necessary that he should conduct his armies under the burning sky of Andalusia and through the snows of Russia, and that his legions, like those of Caesar, should even in dying leave as traces of their passage the germs of a new civilization. In 1812, the contest became more terrible. In order that the general peace might be established and consolidated, it was necessary that England in the west and Russia in the east should be persuaded by reason or subdued by victory. The great designs of the emperor were about to be accomplished. The west of Europe marched upon Moscow, but alas, a winter changed all. Napoleonic Europe could no longer exist. From the grandeur of the failure form an idea of the gigantic result of success. It was no longer a question of combining and founding. It was necessary for the emperor to defend and protect France and her allies. The field of battle was transferred from the banks of the Beresina to the foot of Montmartre. Peace! Peace! Cried the cowards, who until then had been silent. But the soul of the emperor was inaccessible to pusillanimous counsels. Although his body bled in every part, death, he exclaims, rather than a shameful peace. Death, rather than be emperor of a France smaller than I received. The lightning flashed once more, but soon came Waterloo. Here every French voice is choked and finds no longer anything but tears. Tears for the vanquished and tears for the victors, who will sooner or later regret the overthrow of the only man who could mediate between two hostile ages. All our wars are attributable to England. She never would listen to any propositions of peace. Did she believe that the emperor desired her ruin? He never entertained such a thought. He did but make reprisals. The emperor esteemed the English people, and to secure peace would have made every sacrifice except such as would compromise his honor. In 1800, the first consul wrote to the King of England, "Shall the war, which for 8 years has ravaged the four corners of the earth, be eternal? Is there no way of coming to an understanding? How can the two most enlightened nations of Europe, each more powerful than is necessary for its safety and independence, sacrifice to ideas of vainglory the welfare of commerce, internal prosperity, and the happiness of families? How is it that they do not feel that peace is the first of necessities, as it is the first of glories?"